I mean, sometimes I'll even keep coming back to superhero prose. Like, part of the wheelhouse that gets fed so much, even with superhero prose circles, is the anti hero, the more, Marvel-esque type of take. The people are shitty with shitty superpowers, and they don't really do the aspirational hero as much. They'll do the motivational hero sometimes, like more in the vein of like Spider-Man or Batman, where it's they'll have some sort of like kind of fight against, like, oh, is this ultimately the right thing to do? Like, they don't really have a hero that's really set in their core values, and that person's values might change over time. Again, that's the reason why I'm writing up Protocol, because it is putting in everything that I want to see in a superhero prose kind of series. Cause and also like half of them out there, they will get on their soapbox like modern Marvel and DC, and you're like, oh, my lesbian or gay main character is fighting oppression of the people and culture and them evil strawmen kind of setups, and it's like, oh, come on. Like, yeah, that's the. I guess I could also put this maybe with Uplift Protocol, because I'm kind of doing like a little bit more of a commentary. But it's like, why do you constantly have your gay or lesbian characters like be like, I have to fight the evil strawman? Why can't you just let them be what they are, but without putting our politics into it? Um, that's the reason why I made Eliza and Lorraine a couple that's going to develop over time, because I wanted to see more of the campy aspect of Xena and Gabrielle in that aspect. I've probably talked about it before, but no, they just happened to eventually fall in love with each other. Um, there was no like harping on about like, oh, I have to fight for acceptance. I just want to make something fun, and with people that have genuinely very happy moments, and other moments where it's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen, that sort of thing, but not pulling at people with the, oh, will they or won't they? Like, no, it's just a slow burn kind of development. Um, it is also very more readily apparent on Lorraine's end of things, but again, Eliza has a reason for not being able to engage as much of that right now. Not only does she have a lot on her plate, but with the way things have developed, because I am going back through and making notes from previous issues to keep stuff straight. But yeah, Eliza was able to feel things properly for a little while, but then as her belt started waking up, and it's like, oh man, I gotta remold this vessel. So that's also the reason why it's going to take a little bit. Um, Eliza's going to have to deal with this until probably about the end of book 3, I want to say, because Plot Bunnies gave me a brilliant idea for opening up book 4 while I was writing other things the other day. Oh, I swear I'll get issue 13 out today before work. I just want to make sure more of the more egregious typos are off the page. Again, I've already had some help finding some oopsie daisies through other people. See, that's I guess that's the reason why a fair amount of indies will try to at least have a few beta readers to make sure it's like, okay, what did I miss? Did I miss something? Like, yes, it is very easy to miss stuff in your own writing. No matter how much you go over it, there will be always a Where's Waldo of like, oh, oopsie. Okay then. But yeah, but to get back a little bit back to the superhero pros, yeah, majority of them will take the more grittier kind of Punisher or Batman take, and it's like, but aw, but I want more Superman takes, So I'm trying to balance out the scales in that direction. And granted, yeah, it doesn't get like millions of eyeballs all at once, but even now that I look at it, traditional cape and spandex stuff really isn't getting much eyeballs either. Like in terms of overall cultural stuff right now, because the companies are basically killing that off right now to become another YA, conglomerate type of setup. Um, if more often than not, manga is getting the new audience and the new readership. If anything, probably My Hero Academia is keeping some aspects of superheroics alive more than I would say westernized, Americanized cape and spandex adventures. And again, it doesn't help that the superhero prose setup. Your best bet really is that database I've linked before. I'll link it again, but um, yeah. Ooh boy. Mm, yeah. But as I was looking about at this guy's setup for the Pantheon saga, his warning thing at the bottom for his blurb gave me the idea of like, you know what? When I do launch Uplift Protocol onto a actual, I don't know if it's going to be Amazon like 2 years from now. Don't know yet. Just because I can't predict that far into the future. But the biggest thing from even looking into the Worm Guys thing, it's like, oh my god, look how much he has on Patreon. No wonder he doesn't put stuff out on. He doesn't really need to. Oh my god. But that's the other thing. Like, I guess more people, depending maybe on how you were raised or what you find it more interesting as far as the wheelhouse goes, more people are gravitating to like the more grittier aspects right now. Uh, I guess it's a case of like everybody kind of jumping on a particular trend's bandwagon, and maybe some just find certain things more interesting. But it also means that if people like me want to see what we want, we A, have to find others that are thinking along similar lines and support their works. And B, we have to get out there and make our own stuff just as much. I mean, it might not, capture the instant zeitgeist, the 5 minutes of fame, kind of like Got and everything else, which yay for the people that enjoy that stuff, but me, I really, really, honest to God, want the pendulum to slide back more towards the aspirational. So at least I can have a little bit more stuff to read in my downtime. That's the reason why I follow so many pulp rev people, because they are seeking the superversive as just as much as I am. And it's just, I wish I could force it to happen faster. But, I guess it's like a cycle, because the last 30 to 40 years has been, the more gritty, in your face, like almost to obnoxious levels of edge kind of heroes, air quote heroes, that have overtaken, most of the limelight nowadays. So that's what I aim to do. I guess I could put this in reader and topics, mainly just some maybe trends in superhero prose or something. But that's the reason why when I find stuff like what Silver Empire's doing with Heroes Unleashed and CJ's books, that's why I keep coming back to them, because they don't just put in people that are considered, anti-heroes or vigilantes or, basically villain protagonists. They also put in the aspirational, the reconstructive aspects of Astro City. They will put in the superversive as well. Something that everybody, so that way a fan of almost anything with superheroes can find something to enjoy. They're not just catering to one side of the wheelhouse as far as superheroes, are concerned. They're trying to offer people a proper feast, basically. Like, even with New Olympus Saga, yeah, there's characters in there that will appeal to those who enjoyed old style Marvel. There's characters in there that will appeal to old style DC fans. And there's stuff all in between where you can tell that CJ loves certain kinds of tropes just as much as anybody else. But again, like all these series that I keep mentioning, Do it in such a way that it doesn't neglect people. There's something for everybody, basically, which is what's missing from a lot of corporate IPs nowadays. You know, they keep saying they want to diversify things, but they become more and more cookie cutter to where it's like you're really only catering to an audience that's not big enough to really support you. So it's like a push and pull aspect. It's like, okay, you're trying to find a different audience, and you obviously have the money just to basically shit down the tubes, but it's not really working for you. They're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But I guess that's just how it is sometimes. Uh, and that's the reason why I do my best not to really complain as much as I used to, because I'm so busy trying to create now that it's like that's the only way to really combat you know what is air quote popular trends. If you want to see something else on the market, if it's not there, you're gonna have to make it. You're gonna have to showcase that there's people willing to do what needs to be done in order to provide readers with a different avenue or different wheelhouse of entertainment that doesn't cater to the goths of the world or the watchmen of the world or the boys of the world, where yes, in the short term that stuff is in the limelight right now. Hopefully within the next year or two it'll start balancing itself out some more. Um, but I think we also kind of have to take a more kind of manga mindset where you have to have a story that has beginning, middle, and end. Because sometimes, I think that's the reason why they try to transmute, established IPs so often, because they have been around for a while and they are part of the cultural touchstone. But there's only so many times you can, rehash some things. That's the reason why I think more comic book companies should use their multiverse. It's like, if you want to tell a different concept in a different way, then make Earth 127. Something like that. That way it can have its own continuity. If people like certain kind of bells and whistles within it, then you can keep going. Or you can do little maxi series. There's so many things people can do that won't alienate, other established stuff. It just makes me wonder why they don't. I mean, intellectually I know why they do it, because they want to get that instant recognition from a previous legacy. But I guess it's just because it might seem like harder work to establish your own thing. But like once you get down into it might take a few months. It took a while for me to get into like a pretty big steady mode of writing. But eventually you'll have more than enough ideas where it's like, again, these ideas don't have to reinvent the wheel. They just have to add to your own wheel that's just turning over there. You'll eventually have more than enough ideas and plot bunnies to where it's like, do I put this in the story or not? Or do I save this for like a little short story? That sort of thing. It's not that ideas are hard. It's just, for me, it's choosing which ideas to put on the page. And I guess that's about it for now. You guys have a good day. I'm going to get back to writing.